So, I'm back. I finally decided to carry this on. If you notice, my voice sounds a little bit different. I was losing my voice yesterday, so I'm still recovering from sounding like Marge Simpson for a whole day. And if you hear a fan in the background, I'm sorry, it's just really warm today or tonight, so we're gonna carry this on. This one kind of has a more introduction to the character that we're reading from the point of view as, so just thought I'd point that out there. I felt safer around him, despite my first thoughts being he was one of them. Even though I barely know him, I feel like I can trust him. Oh, I forgot to introduce myself, huh? Well, I'm Elliot. I'm a 14-year-old student with autism and developmental coordination disorder. I usually don't end up in these situations, but here I am. As I'm writing, I haven't really had the time to introduce myself, so it may be late, but still, that scar still stings, and that one on my face from falling. But I discovered a new one after being shoved yesterday. One on my arm. I don't know where it came from, but wait, no, was it? No. Don't get yourself worked up, Elliot. It wasn't one of them. Just relax. You're fine. Jeez. I'm already getting myself worked up over these things. I sketched one down. Its twisting body and its thin limbs are enough to send shivers down my spine. Poor Telno. He probably doesn't even know what he's going on either. Is that even Telno? What if it's not? What if there's a multiple... Stop it, Elliot. Stop thinking too much about it. Just chill. I need to take my mind off these things. And so I found something. This boy wandered in with a strangely large slab of what I think was animal meat. He asked if I wanted any. I just wanted a quiet no thanks as I looked for distraction from my thoughts. But what could I do? I was stuck inside for my own safety. The boy boarded up the door. But why? He could just lock it. They don't seem to be able to break through it. I wonder what he's doing. It's best not to think about it. As I watched the boy wander into the kitchen, I studied what he brought in. For some reason, I measured it against my body. It was on the size of my chest, from the start of my ribs to the bottom, so I figured it was animal meat. I sat back down and pulled out my phone. The screen was cracked. My contacts gone, but my music apps were still there. So I plugged in my headphones. I sat and listened to music for a while before wondering where my messages were. The app was there, the contacts weren't. I tried remembering everyone's numbers, but they wouldn't work. Maybe my phone lines aren't supported here. That's my finalized thought for now. The boy walked back in, grinning to himself as he sat next to me. He noticed my phone and leaned in to hear what I was playing in my headphones, faintly tapping his foot as I glanced at him. What are you doing? I asked. I was just trying to see what you were listening to, he muttered. Just Modify, I replied. Maybe a bit too bland of a reply, but still. Ooh, by who? The boy seemed excited. My favourite band. Lemon Demon. I muttered out of embarrassment. So that's who Neil Cicerega is? The boy giggled. Yeah, I recommend him. He's a good singer and songwriter and such. I trailed off. I don't know why I felt so uncomfortable. I'll have to listen later. He sounds cool. The boy smiled. I smiled back. Only slightly, but I smiled. I don't know why he had a phone either. Phone lines didn't work here, and the internet is kind of shitty. Wonder where he even got one from. But he lent me a charger at least. I figured I may as well bring this up, but this whole feels like a bad fever dream. Like I'm in that Spirit Phone bonus track. You're at the party. But it feels too real. Like a realistic daydream. I don't know. But something doesn't seem right about this at all. What was the cause of all this? And how did I get here? Whoops, I didn't mean to scroll back up. I guess that thought will have to hold on as I heard a bang, then a loud crash. A low growl followed the destruction. Oh no, they're back again. And I think it's brought back up. I quickly grabbed my new weapon and waited, hearing the low growling on occasion. The boy hid behind me like I knew what I was doing, which I didn't, but still. I started bashing on the door, kicking, scratching, screaming. I couldn't tell whether the screams were agonized or just anger. Kind of a mix of both. Being something like that must be so painful. I slowly inched towards the door, weapon in right hand, shielding the boy with the other arm. As I stood in front of the door burst open. Two of the creatures flooded into the room. The same one from before, pinning me down. I could feel its heavy breathing on my face, its eyes staring me down. The boy ran to the other room as I struggled to get through. He grabbed me by the throat, lifted me up to his face. Is this it? I wondered to myself. Is this how I die? No. No, it's not. I kicked the creature in the chest as its twisted body plummeted to the floor. I could hear its neck snap as it hit its head on the wall. I turned around. The other was gone, but I remember how it looked. Great. Another one of my friends. You know, the theorist guy? Can't remember his name. We didn't hang out much. I heard its footsteps darting around as it lunged at me. I had enough time to dodge out of the way. I let it hit the window. Both now lay on the floor. I assumed they were unconscious as I backed away, breathing heavily as I stood there. Weapon in front of me like a spear, which in reality it was just an axe. The boy came from the room and stood behind me. Is it over? He asked as I dragged the bodies out by the arms. Yeah, I replied. My breath caught in my throat as the smell of dried blood and rotting corpses became more recognizable as I stepped out the door and tossed the creatures out. I don't know what they want, but one thing's for sure. I don't know how long I'll survive. I mumbled as I trudged back inside. I felt my heart beat. My shirt felt damp. It wasn't sweat. Shit. The boy looked at me as I stumbled to the floor in exhaustion and agony. Oh dear, he exclaimed quietly as he ran towards me. My body ached as I watched the blood drip from my shirt. My head felt dizzy and my arms became weak. Is this how I die? I asked as I looked up. My vision had gotten significantly more blurry as time passed. I couldn't hear his reply as I blacked out. I awoke to panic, searching as I sat up on the bed, my chest bandaged and my shirt hung up to dry. I felt weak, vulnerable, as I looked over to the boy, who was searching for some sort of item. Am I dead? Is this heaven? I asked, weakly. No, you're not dead. You're just... The boy started. Just what? I turned to face him. Lay back down. He gently forced me to lie back down as he carefully moved the bandages while holding a pair of tweezers. Hey, what are you... Ah! I yelped in pain and grasped the blanket as he pulled something out. That should stop the bleeding, he said as he wrapped the bandages back around the injury. What the hell was that? I let go of the blanket and sat up. My chest ached with a shooting, stabbing pain all around where I got hurt. Well, one left a claw behind after I attacked you earlier. You know, when it pinned you down. I stopped for a moment before getting up and putting my shirt back on. What are you doing? The boy asked as he held my hand. You need to rest. I just don't want to get a cold, I replied as he led me back to bed. As soon as I lay down, I fell into a deep sleep as the boy pulled the covers over me. At least I'm assuming I did, because I didn't sleep with them on. As I slept, the boy was apparently keeping an eye out for the creatures, occasionally checking on me. Again, apparently I was sleep-talking. At least that's what he told me. I guess that's normal for me, even though I didn't know I did it. I didn't wake up until the next day, when the boy wasn't home, and my fear ensued. So, I don't know how long it's going to take for me to finish this. It's probably going to take me like a couple of months. And I don't know if this has recorded the audio. I'm screen recording so I could like read it out. I don't know if this has recorded the audio. And if it's not, I swear to God, I'm going to start crying angrily. But if it has, then thank God. Also, again, I couldn't voice them properly because my voice is still a little messed up. As you could probably tell by the way I keep sounding like Marge Simpson out of nowhere. I think I'm losing my voice again. Oh, great, here I go again. I'm going to start like sounding like Marge Simpson. What the hell is on my ceiling? I don't know, but I don't know if this is recorded the audio. If it did, I'm so glad it did. But, yeah. And I'm sorry for any fan noises you could hear, if you could hear them. I've got it on at the fullest setting, and it's still warm as hell in my room, so, yeah.